Hello and welcome to IAMC TV Radio. It's New Year's Eve, and we're doing something a little different today.
Yeah.
We're bringing you the top news headlines today, December 31st. So first up, thousands are flocking to Nigeria for Deady December celebrations.
Right.
But you might be surprised to hear that the Australian government has actually issued a travel warning,
Yeah.
urging its citizens to reconsider going there.
It's a popular time for Nigerians abroad to return home and celebrate, but
Sure.
yeah, the Australian government's warning of significant safety concerns, terrorism,
Oh, wow.
violent crime, and
Okay.
civil unrest. They even call out some high-risk areas specifically: Adamawa, Borno, Kaduna Rivers, Zamfara, and Imo.
And it seems they have reason to be concerned. I mean, Nigeria's National Bureau of Statistics reported a staggering number of kidnappings, over 2.2 million between May 2023 and April 2024, with ransoms totaling over 2 trillion naira.
It's a lot. And the advisory goes even further. It cautions Australians about potential targets.
Yeah.
It lists hotels and restaurants, places of worship, even refugee camps.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
a lot.
It paints a picture of widespread risk.
Yeah. So it makes you wonder how this warning might impact Deady December. Will people heed the advice, or will the pull of celebration be too strong? All right, let's shift gears now to the reopening of the Warri oil refinery in Nigeria. This has been shut down for nearly a decade.
Yeah, touted as a major achievement.
Exactly.
But sources reveal that the refinery, it isn't actually fully operational. And it can't produce petrol yet, which is the most in-demand product in Nigeria.
Interesting. So what's interesting here is that this reopening comes just as the CEO of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, Mele, he's nearing retirement.
Right.
And is seeking an extension of his term.
So some speculate that this partial reopening, it could be a strategic move by Kyari to gain favor with President Tinubu.
I see.
And maybe improve his chances of staying on.
Okay, let's move on to a more somber report.
Yeah.
This is from Anambra State, Nigeria, where a deadly attack has left the community in shock.
Gunmen targeted both security operatives and civilians, resulted in 7 fatalities, including 2 innocent bystanders.
And the Anambra State Police, they've responded by launching a manhunt for the perpetrators. And they've assured the public that they will be brought to justice. All right, turning our attention now to international news. Italian journalist Cecilia Sala has been arrested in Iran.
She's being accused of violating Islamic law, although the specifics of the charges are unclear.
And this arrest comes at a time of already strained diplomatic relations between Iran and the West. Just recently, Iranian nationals were arrested in the U.S. and Italy over alleged export violations.
Right, and to make it even more complex, there are a number of other European citizens being detained in Iran, and there is a history of prisoner exchanges between Iran and Western countries.
Right.
So it raises some questions about the potential implications for Salah's case.
Now, for a story that's generated a lot of controversy, Elon Musk, known for being outspoken, has drawn criticism in Germany for his recent endorsement of the far-right Alternative for Germany Party, or AfD party.
Yeah, his endorsement has sparked accusations that he's trying to influence the upcoming German elections.
Right.
And there are concerns about potential foreign interference.
German politicians have been very vocal in their disapproval. Some accuse Musk of using tactics similar to Putin, while others are expressing worry about the potential impact on their democratic processes.
The AfD has been gaining popularity in Germany, so Musk's endorsement. Regardless of his intentions, it could have a significant impact on the political landscape.
Okay, shifting our focus now to a heartbreaking story from India. That highlights some of the deeply rooted societal issues that unfortunately still persist in parts of the world.
In Maharashtra, a man set his wife on fire for giving birth to their 3rd daughter.
And it's just awful.
Yeah, this act of violence, it really underscores that deeply ingrained gender discrimination and preference for sons that continues to plague certain cultures.
It's a tragic reminder that despite progress in many areas, harmful traditions and beliefs can still create inequality and put lives at risk. Bringing our attention back to Nigeria now, we have a report that might not be a surprise to some. President Tinubu has been ranked as the 3rd most corrupt leader globally. This is according to the Organized Crime Corruption Reporting Project, or OCCRP.
The allegations against Tinubu are wide-ranging. They include things like amassing wealth during his time as governor of Lagos and awarding lucrative contracts to companies linked to his family.
He has denied these allegations, but this ranking raises some serious questions about transparency and accountability within his administration. Finally, our last headline for today. This involves cybersecurity. The U.S. Treasury Department has been targeted by hackers.
It seems Chinese state-sponsored actors were able to gain access to government workstations and obtain unclassified documents.
Both the US and China have launched investigations. The US is increasing its security measures, while the Chinese government has denied any involvement. And that wraps up our news segment for this New Year's Eve.
Wow, quite a year. Yeah,
A lot to think about.
definitely. Yeah, it has been a mix of celebrations and some pretty sobering events to close out the year.
Yeah, for sure. So as we enter a new year, I think it's worth exploring some of these stories a bit further, see what kind of insights we can get.
Absolutely.
So let's revisit that Australian travel warning to Nigeria. You know, it's especially significant considering the timing. Right in the heart of Deady December, when so many people are traveling to celebrate.
Yeah, this advisory could really impact Nigeria's tourism industry, which relies a lot on these end-of-year festivities. So it raises the question of whether the allure of Deady December will outweigh these safety concerns for travelers.
Yeah, that's a good question. Now let's look at the reopening of the Warri oil refinery. On the surface, it seemed like a big accomplishment. You know, a key piece of infrastructure coming back online after a decade.
Right. But as we said, it's not as straightforward as it might seem. The refinery isn't fully operational. And the timing is interesting. It lines up with the CEO's attempt to extend his term.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, was this reopening more about optics than actual progress? Was it a calculated move by the CEO to help his position?
It's possible.
It really shows how important it is to look beyond the headlines and consider the motivations involved. We can't always take things at face value.
Exactly.
Now, that attack in Anambra State, it's a stark reminder of the ongoing security challenges in Nigeria, and it highlights the human cost of this violence and the ripple effect it has on communities.
Absolutely, and the fact that both security personnel and civilians were targeted, it shows how indiscriminate this attack was. It also raises concerns about how effective security measures are in that region.
Yeah, very true. Okay, let's turn our attention now to the arrest of that Italian journalist, Cecilia Sala, in Iran. The lack of clarity surrounding the charges against her, and the tense diplomatic relations, it makes the situation really concerning.
Yeah, it's hard not to see this through the lens of the geopolitical tensions between Iran and the West. It raises the possibility that Salah's arrest could be used as leverage in a much bigger game.
Yeah, it's a situation that we need to watch closely. The implications could go way beyond this individual case. Now, Elon Musk jumping into German politics has sparked a lot of debate. His endorsement of the AfD party has led to accusations of meddling and concerns about the influence of international figures in their elections.
This brings up some important questions about the role of social media and the responsibility that high-profile people have in shaping political discourse. Can one endorsement really sway an election? What are the ethical implications of these actions?
Yeah, these are important questions to consider. Now, that story from India about the man setting his wife on fire for having a daughter, it's a reminder of the deep-rooted gender discrimination that sadly still exists in some parts of the world.
It's a horrible example of how cultural norms and beliefs can have terrible consequences.
It shows the need for continued efforts to fight gender inequality through education, awareness, and legal reforms. It's essential to challenge harmful traditions, to create a more just world. The OCCRP ranking President Tinubu is one of the most corrupt leaders globally. It's a big deal. It raises serious questions about transparency and accountability in the Nigerian government.
Yeah, while Tinubu has denied the allegations, this ranking puts a spotlight on corruption and the damage it does to societies. It highlights the need for strong institutions and a commitment to ethical leadership.
Absolutely. And finally, the cyber attack on the U.S. Treasury Department. It reminds us of the constant threat of these attacks. It underscores the need for strong cybersecurity and the importance of constantly being vigilant to protect sensitive information.
It shows that even the most secure systems can be vulnerable. It also highlights how sophisticated these state-sponsored actors are becoming.
Right, and that's something we need to stay ahead of. So as we think about these headlines from December 31st,
we see a world facing a lot of complex challenges, from security concerns and political maneuvering to social issues and these cyber threats.
It's a lot to keep track of. But these stories show us how connected our world is and how important it is to stay informed and engaged.
Yeah, it really is. So as we look ahead to the new year, it's interesting to think about which of these stories will continue to develop and what new challenges and opportunities we'll see.
Yeah, will the security situation in Nigeria get better? Or will we see more incidents during Deady December? What will happen with that Warri oil refinery? And will the CEO get that extension?
Good questions. What about Cecilia Sala in Iran? Will her case get caught up in that diplomatic standoff with the West? And will Musk's endorsement actually affect the German elections?
Lots of unknowns. And how will countries handle the growing threat of cyber attacks? Will we see new strategies to fight these threats and protect sensitive information?
I guess we'll have to wait and see. These are just some of the things that will shape the world in the coming year. As we head into 2025, it's more important than ever to stay informed, to think critically, and to remember how connected our world is. These stories show us that even during celebrations, there are serious issues that need our attention. From security and social injustice to the changing digital landscape, there are lots of challenges. But there are also opportunities for progress.
Well said. Thank you for joining us for this special New Year's Eve edition of IAMCPD Radio. We hope you found these stories interesting. As we start a new year, let's stay curious, let's stay engaged, and let's try to make a positive difference in the world.
Here's to a new year.
Absolutely. From all of us at IAMC TV Radio, have a safe and happy New Year.
Happy New Year.